All right, welcome to the channel for the first time viewers. Welcome back from my existing subscribers. Today I am going to finally go over the SCUF Omega PS5. So this is a PS5 controller that just recently released. They've been very hard to get a hold of, but I went ahead and I did go ahead and order a second one. I'll probably return this black one. I don't know, it looks really clean, but I might end up returning it mainly because I did order a white one for Prime Day and it ended up being $186, but the delivery time might not line up with my return period. So I would love to just do a swap where they would just credit me and I wouldn't have to go through all that. But Amazon is kind of weird about stuff like that, so you actually have to return it. Now, two things that I really like about this controller off the bat is that it kind of inherits the body and almost the feel of the actual Envision V2. So I had the Envision V2 sometime last year and it was a really good controller, but my biggest issue was the Corsair IQ software. So IQ didn't need to be running, but it needed to actually be installed on your computer for it to work. And for me, that's a big deal. I don't like having background software running. So it was automatic no for me. But with this one, you actually can program on the fly, which I love. The Envision did too, but you need the driver to do it. Now, one cool thing, I'm not just gonna dunk on the Envision because that controller was almost perfect minus IQ. They did go back and it used to be buried on the SCUF website, which it's now been removed and moved up a little bit to where you can just get the driver. So if you want this type of PlayStation feel with the lateral joysticks, or the symmetrical joysticks, then this is a great controller, but the Envision will do the same thing. It's really meant for PC, and you can just put the driver only with IQ now. So that's recent. You still can't do some of the other things that this controller could do, which I'm about to get into. So that was like one whole long big thing, is that it's not the Envision. And the second thing is the phone app. So there is a phone app on this controller now that you'll be able to use, and it's phenomenal, right? So it gives you just quick customization. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull it up right now just to see. Hopefully the camera doesn't like spaz out as I go pull this thing up, because it's gonna be a screen looking at a screen. But let me see real quick. I wish I had thought about this before. I was gonna try to do some kind of screen record and upload this, but it also forces you into landscape mode, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Let me see if I get this right. So this is the whole interface of the app. You pretty much have your controller, and essentially you can go through and hit configure and then do all of your keybinds and everything you need to do. I don't know why it's not connecting here. Maybe I'm in a game. It's weird. Oh, I can't connect. Next. It's because I had the black one connected. So you'll have to repair it if you do end up with two controllers. So that's kind of a bummer. All right, let me see. Get to see it in real time. So you gotta hit PS on the options. All right. Meanwhile, my computer in the background is going crazy. All right, so now I got the app actually up. Let me close out of this stuff. I was just playing Battlefield. I still have Battlefield up in the background. Let me see if it'll focus up. There it is. So hopefully, I'm gonna try to get this as clear as I can in post, but when you go to configure, everything that I liked about the Envision that you could do, from managing the triggers to managing, you know, your dead zones. So you have triggers where you can go through and mess with the triggers here. You have your thumbstick styles, right? So you can do like your squircle, your circle, your square. So it's kind of like the sensitivity zones, but you can also go in on each individual thumbstick and turn on anti-dead zones. Just a couple extra features like that. I know you're not gonna be able to see it, but these are just some of the options there. And then you have your lighting. I have my lights pretty low, mainly because I don't want to drain the battery. And this thing, the first week when I first made that post that I got it, I didn't charge it pretty much since then. So I hadn't charged it. Essentially, I went from Sunday to Sunday, and I threw it on the charger with 15% battery left. So that's crazy to me. Here you just have your front keys, right? You can select what the touchpad does. So one thing when this first came out, so if you were like a super early adopter and you happen to get one, the touchpad was broken. So it didn't recognize it as a button. So when you pressed it, it automatically went to like a mouse click. You can do that still, like if you prefer it that way, but if you want to use it like a PlayStation controller, you could go ahead and actually, in the settings, there's a setting you can toggle of what the touchpad does. So that'll allow you to go ahead and do, you know, essentially your PlayStation features, like if you want to pull up something, or if it's like hold the touchpad because you selected a PlayStation controller input. And then as X input, it's kind of weird because this is a officially licensed PlayStation controller, but you'll see the Xbox icons if a game doesn't know that and it just picks it up like a controller, like an Xbox controller. But these are your back paddles. So you can also go to your top. You got your sax buttons, which are the two side buttons. For me, I have them both off. I don't like those buttons. I feel like whenever I squeeze, they accidentally, by default, they're R1 and L1. And when I squeeze, I just feel that it accidentally goes ahead and just does random shit, right? Like it's like you'll be throwing a grenade in the middle of a gunfight because it got a little too tense and you're a little too sweaty. So I turned that off. Then you got your G keys, and this is the creme de la creme. So what I fucking love about the G keys is you can actually, from the app, you won't be able to see. I wish you could. I really wish you could. You could actually see, let me see if I can get this in more. Yeah, on the G keys, you can actually set up on the controller, you can set up the, from the app, you can set up keybinds. And so you can even do macros. They're not gonna be the most, you know, complicated macros, but it will save it to the onboard memory mode. It does not work on the the PlayStation mode though. So if you go to the PlayStation mode, it's not gonna work. So it's gotta be in the PC mode, and then you can actually set them up to be able to do things like, right now, I'll show you on the controller. That's pretty much the app in a nutshell. There's a couple other things like updating the firmware. But on the controller, like right here, I have it set to save my recordings. That's G1. Then you've got your volume up and volume down. So these are defaults. On the PlayStation mode, they're gonna be locked in, so you can't really do too much with them. And I can't remember what G1 and G5 do, but there is your dedicated mute button in the middle. Now, what I did is on my PC mode, I went ahead and I changed that dedicated mute button to be the push to talk. So on a lot of games, if you're playing on controller, especially Call of Duty, you get that random. I'll go ahead and I'll put on push to talk so that I can go ahead and, you know, talk in game and not have to have open mic so that proximity chat isn't going off. And then to start recordings, like when I'm running a benchmark, I have it on my G5. So I set these two on the outside to be, I think it's Alt, Shift, and plus. So you literally have the ability to do any of your keys from your keyboard. So like if you want this to be like some key that you pick up inventory with or something like that, you can change all the defaults and go ahead and do that. Now I do want to talk about some of the downsides, and the downsides are that, especially with games like college football and things like that, or even like a Call of Duty when you go to click, the clicking on the L3 is not that reliable. Now, it is also partially because I have these not control freaks, but remember on the Envision, for those of you that have seen that review I did, the Envision had the, you couldn't use control freaks because it scraped the actual casing. You could file it down, but you could also buy these SCUF versions of the control freaks. What I was gonna say is a downside though, is that to get to the panel, to change from PS5 to PC to Bluetooth, you actually have to remove these. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. These are my new ones too. So I have them on pretty much every controller. So take that, and then I have to take these off. They're at the bottom now, so let me get this set down. These are universal, so they actually work with just about every type of stick, and I'll show you how the mechanism works if I can get it off. They expand right here. It's gonna be hard to see. They expand, so there's a break in the ring right there, and it can open up. So it lets you go to a bigger stick or a smaller stick. But like I said, the downside is you got to actually take this off to be able to take the faceplate off. Right? So here I can go ahead, just stick your nail there, and now it can come off. With it on, it's too thick. And so this is what the controller looks like. You've got some magnet points. Hopefully you can hear the click. I'm going to bring it up to the mic. So these are the direction pad clicks, as well as the regular D-pad clicks. And then, like I said, the L3 is a little bit not mushy. It's not mushy. I don't want to say that, but I feel like it's not as consistent. I wish it was like a clicky, like a very, very responsive click, but it's not. Soon they'll have different faceplates for these things, and I think it'll look really cool, especially one like the black one, where you can just throw on different faceplates, and now you're rocking and rolling, so you're good to go as far as that all matters. But overall, like I said, it's a great controller, and the software being on the actual app now fixes the number one issue that I had, which is that IQ, siphoning all my resources in the background. And it really wasn't. IQ's pretty lightweight, but I still don't like it. Like, if you're sensitive to stutters, you'll notice that a lot of these third-party applications, when you go to actually play a game, especially I've noticed this in Modern Warfare, you go to play a game, and then all of a sudden, it's like, as you're playing, there's just a little bit of a stutter on your CPU side. And that's because these background tasks are running. Oh, before I put this back on, I was going to show you how it snaps on. But come on, pick it up. There you go. All right. So there's a Bluetooth and wireless switch and wired. And that's why I was saying I don't really love that part, because as you get a little bit, more into using this controller for multiple use cases, you either have to just not get tall sticks, right? You have to get tall sticks to make it work. Or you have to do what I just did and take off your control freaks if you're using control freaks. And then you have your PS5 and your PC toggle on the right side. So left side is wireless. It's wireless, wired Bluetooth. And then right side is your PS5 and PC dongle. So you can kind of switch back and forth between those. All right, that's the long and the short of the video here. I've been using this for a little over a month. We'll see how it snaps back in. Get this one. And that's it. It's mad easy. But I've been using this for a little over a month. Started off with this one, and then ordered my new one, and fits my hand perfectly. So it's not, I would say it's almost as good of a fit as the DualSense Edge. But it's a little bit different. It feels a little different. It's for sure light. So it's super, super light. And then the last piece I'll say is what comes in the box. So you got some blank outs that are for these sax buttons. So if you don't want these to be actual buttons, to me, I just say disable them, right? You don't have to go fiddling with your controller. Just go in the software and disable it. You also have some blank outs for these two internal paddles. So you can, this is how my hands naturally rest on there in the back. It is kind of like this. So I'm wedged in between the two. So for me, it's just click, 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 click. These interior or exterior paddles, the ones closest to your actual grip, are actually really, really hard to press. So that's the biggest issue is that everybody has had, is that this whole style is hard to press. But on this PlayStation format, it's even harder to press. You get used to it, but it's harder to press than on the on the SCUF Valor. The SCUF Valor, that Xbox style, it's the same layout, but for whatever reason, the contour of the controller makes it easier to press. You also have your trigger stops, which I don't use them. It just makes it so you get instead of a full pull trigger, you just have that click, the mouse click. So you would just flip it, it's right under here. They also made these shorter because these used to come out a little bit further on the Envision, but I guess they kept breaking, so they made it a little bit shorter on this one. Yeah, 3.5 millimeter jack. I did go ahead and disable everything that this controller tried to do as far as on my Windows machine. Like I disabled the microphone. It comes up as like, you know, another audio device and all that stuff. So I turned all that off, mainly because I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to have to connect this and then all of a sudden my shit starts going crazy. Oh, last piece. I've said that like 8 times, so I'll probably say it like 5 more. The connection. This has not disconnected mid-game for me at all yet. Neither one of them. So that's fantastic. The Valor, I'd say once every 3 or 4 days, I would get a random disconnection. So I didn't really love that. That was like, that was a big problem for me. So like I said, on the Valor, it would disconnect randomly and that would mess up my game. So that was a big problem. I would have to switch the mouse and keyboard in the middle of a gunfight. And sometimes I win, sometimes I don't. But then I have to wait till the game ends before I can go back to controller. And that's specifically Call of Duty. I've been testing out and fiddling a little bit with Battlefield, just to see how that goes. I mean, it's pretty good so far. But yeah, this is the SCUF Omega, man. It's hard to get. It's, oh, you also get a carrying case. So you get this little black case with yours. So they come with that. And did I put anything else in there? I don't think I did. No. And they also support fast charging. So that was cool. When the first time I saw it actually die, it went, I think within 20 minutes, I was back to like, it didn't even die. It was like 15%. But within like 20 minutes, it was back to like 50 or 60% battery life. So, I mean, you pretty much in 1 or 2 games are right back playing for a few days again. So, yeah, that part's really cool. And then I'll pull out the Valor just so you can see. So, that's my SCUF Valor when compared next to the Omega. Not the best comparison, not a scientific comparison, but like I said, the back buttons, there are no sax buttons on this one, nothing on the sides, but clicky, full pull. This feels a little bit better in my hand. I got big hands, so it feels a little bit better. And the way the paddle rolls is a little bit, you know, wider because it's the Xbox, and so it's not as hard to press. Now, I don't prefer this necessarily over the Omega, but some people may, and the software is in a much better place now. It's essentially the same. They got the same sticks, essentially the same technology. This is just going to be an Xbox branded controller, so no touchpad, none of that other stuff. So that's the biggest thing. Both TMR, and then no G keys on this thing. It's got these scroll wheels instead. So definitely the G keys make a big difference, especially as a PC gamer, because I can bind keys to it and they're actually useful. And like I said, unlike the Envision, I don't need software running for them to actually work. So also in the app, if you change anything, it changes on the controller instantly, like immediately, or right away. Like I was like immediately. So, because it's connected via Bluetooth and it just rewires it. And then you don't have to have the app open or anything like that for it to run. But as you saw at the beginning of this video, this is my first time going back to the app on my gray one. So when I bought the black one, I installed the app so I can customize all the keys and the buttons and everything like that. Well, not the keys, but the buttons. And yeah, that was pretty much that. It was, I've been running ever since. I haven't gone back in the app except to check for firmware updates. PlayStation feels fine. PC feels great. It's 1K polling hertz. And I did talk to my buddy. Y'all might see him in game from time to time. I pay my taxes, but he said that there may or may not, who knows, be a 8K polling hertz update. And so that'll be interesting to see if it comes to fruition, because then it's just going to be even more responsive. On the, I don't know if they'll do it on the wireless side, but if they do, that'll be ideal, because I don't run my controllers wired. There's too much stuff happening. So let me get this in there. I hate these things. Okay, that's one. And then just line them up from the bottom and then press down. And then they snap in. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about the controller. Hopefully this was somewhat, it was disorganized, it was disjointed as hell. But hopefully this was somewhat helpful for you if you've been on the fence about this controller. If I had to give it a score right now, I would say I'd give it probably about an 8.5. And it's mainly because, you know, it doesn't have the rumbles. It feels a little light. It's not cheap, but it feels light. But I would give it about an 8.5 out of 10. And yeah, overall, I wish you didn't need to take off the faceplate, which is a big deal for me. Faceplate to change from PlayStation to PC. It makes it so that essentially you have to take off your control freaks and really choose your platform if you're going to use all that stuff, because the first time is fine, second time is fine, but after a certain amount of time, when you just want to switch, you don't want to be fiddling and taking off control freaks. Plus, the more you take these things off, the more likely one of the plastic pieces are to snap. I mean, we've all had that happen. So just worn plastic over time from, you know, on and off, on and off, on and off. And college football is dropping. It's dropping on PC this year. That's going to be dope. I'm going to be throwing this down. But with the no motors, sports games lack a little bit of heart. No rumbles, but the controller is super light in exchange. So there's that. All right, that's all I got. Y'all be easy. I will catch y'all in the next one. It took me a little bit, but I wanted to really get my wits about me on this one and have some good use time. Let me know, unrelated, let me know if y'all want me to review this Montech 10 that I bought. Let me see if I can get this in now. So I bought a Montech 10. It's what I'm using right now. But let me know if you want me to review that, and then we can kind of go from there. So, great case. It's damn near ITX, but it fits my 5090. So my Aorus Master is actually in there, and a 360 millimeter radiator. So it's only a little bit bigger than my other ITX case. All right, I'm gonna get you on the flip. Be easy.